mynews.studio.
Picture this: a blind data collector using a screen reader inside a cyclone shelter. Could technology like this actually reshape how we deliver disaster aid?
Today is 2025-12-13. Let's dive straight in. There's a new tool called SIRA, launched by Light for the World and FAMOD in Mozambique. It's the first emergency data tool that's fully accessible to people with disabilities, and it's open source. What sets this apart from other data tools used in past emergencies?
The main difference is accessibility. SIRA is built so people who are blind or have other disabilities can use it independently and actually collect data themselves. For example, it works seamlessly with screen readers, so a blind enumerator can fill out forms on their own. That's never happened before in emergency response. But it's not just about the tech. SIRA uses both the Washington Group Disability Screening Questions, which are globally recognized, and open-ended interviews. That combination matters because it captures not just statistics, but also personal stories and open-ended interviews. That combination matters because it captures not just statistics, but also personal stories.
So it's not just ticking boxes. It's about understanding the person behind the data. But how does that actually work on the ground, say during a conflict or after a flood?
In real emergencies, speed and accuracy are crucial. SIRA was tested in Cabo Delgado, Mozambique, during both armed conflict and climate disasters. Local teams, including people with disabilities, surveyed over 1,500 households. They discovered that up to 30% of displaced people, including children and older adults, had disabilities. That's much higher than previous estimates. And why does that matter? Because it meant agencies were missing people who needed support.
30% is a big increase. So after this data came out, did it actually change how aid was delivered?
It did. Mozambique's Humanitarian Response Plan for 2025 was revised using these new numbers. Funds were redistributed and services were redesigned to be accessible. For example, shelters and food points started adding ramps and providing sign language interpreters. So, decisions moved from assumptions to real evidence.
That's a significant shift for one country. But do we know if this approach could work elsewhere, or is it too specific to Mozambique?
Because SIRA is open source, anyone can adapt it. That's intentional. It's not limited to Mozambique or one type of crisis. As more governments and NGOs start using it, we could see inclusive data collection become the norm. And that matters as disasters and conflicts increase, since it helps ensure no one is left out of aid because of their disability.
It's also about participation, right? With SIRA, people with disabilities aren't just being surveyed, they're leading the process. Does that affect the quality or depth of the data?
It does. When people with lived experience collect data, it's often more accurate and detailed. They know the real barriers. Plus, it builds local leadership and trust in the process. That's been missing from most emergency tools until now.
So, just to pull it together, SIRA's accessible design, local leadership, and open source model aren't just improving data. They're changing the way humanitarian response is even imagined. Could this signal a shift toward inclusion in other sectors as well?
That's the idea. If open, accessible tools can transform aid, why not education or health? The foundation is there. The next step is scaling up and making sure these innovations reach as many people as possible.
Today, we've seen how SIRA can bring visibility to people who are often overlooked and help make aid fairer and more effective.
If one inclusive tool can shift relief efforts in Mozambique, it's worth thinking about what could come next. Thanks for listening. This episode was brought to you by mynews.studio. Try it now for free.